Note came in the other day from a young entrepreneur here in London, Ontario. Wanted to know if I would make time so we could grab a coffee and he could pick my brain. I have no idea what Spencer wants to know or how I could help, but neither do you. And we're about to find out as we go brain picking right here on the Reinvention Chronicles. A Pick Your Brain session with my friend Spencer. Spencer's a 26-year-old entrepreneur, and we agreed before sitting down that we were going to keep this so raw, so unrehearsed, and really just go freestyle and see what Spencer has on his mind. So tell me and tell everyone, Spencer, a little bit about, first of all, what is it you do?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, thanks, Gair. I really appreciate your time here today. This is a great experiment. It's great to capture hopefully some of this raw footage and on camera, and
yeah,
hopefully it can help somebody else out there as well. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So you nailed it there. 26-year-old. I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I started a small business consulting company back in 2015, late 2015.
Okay.
And I've been working with entrepreneurs across pretty much southern Ontario, across Toronto, Kitchener, Waterloo, and London area, scale their businesses up.
Okay.
But what I do is I work with entrepreneurs that are typically under the $1 million a year mark, and we find different ways to bring them over that kind of barrier there.
Okay.
So we're talking building sales strategy, we're talking possibly franchising, opening new offices, leveraging technology, different ways that they can really get their business ramped up to the next level.
So let's jump right into it. And so, again, without any rehearsal or any script, so you want to pick my brain. Actually, why me? Why are you picking me to pick my brain of all people?
Of course. We met, when was that? It was about 6 months ago, I think.
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
At a CAPS event, Dan Martell was speaking.
Right.
And that's where we kind of brought together. Dan Martell is a friend of yours, and definitely an inspiration to myself. So I've been following Dan and his content quite a bit, and I said, you know what, it's in my hometown, there's no reason for me to miss the event. So so met Gair at the event. Gair actually introduced Dan to the stage, and I realized why these two were connected. Very inspirational, very entrepreneurial, but to have somebody like Gair in my small town of London, Ontario, is just incredible. So I see him on Facebook. I see Gair's on the road all the time. And I ran into him.
You're talking about me like I'm not even here, but I'm right here, folks.
So I met you.
Exactly.
Met you at the restaurant in London the other day, and thought I'd take advantage of having you in town and seeing if we could chat.
Okay, let's do it for real. So what is it you want to know? Let's start. Question number one. So Gair, obviously you've had a lot of experience working with different CEOs, not only in Canada, USA, but across the world. A bit of my history, right out of school, I started with an engineering firm, quite a large firm, okay,
right? As a business development manager. And in that firm, I was able to kind of get ahead a little bit quicker than my colleagues. And I think the reason of that is I was an entrepreneur inside a corporation, or an intrapreneur. And and what I mean by that is, although I had a position, I was always learning, consistently learning outside my job. I was an action taker. I was somebody who had ideas.
So this is one of the first things about picking your brain. You want to land the plane as quick as possible. So where's the question?
Exactly. No, I appreciate it. So what you've seen in the industry, from working in large corporations, do you see a trend where employees are getting ahead by creating their own personal brand?
Yes.
And what suggestions would you give to employees if you had maybe 3 tips that you could give to somebody who's working in a corporation to stand out, to make their own personal brand and get ahead?
Sure. So no matter where it is, good question, by the way. If you're an intrapreneur and you're working for someone, you're working for a corporation, you're working for a small business, to me it's all the same. I think there's a significant opportunity for anyone who's working inside to understand the ultimate fundamentals when it comes to working inside any business. And that's the question. What is the purpose of a business? Most fundamental question of all. What is the purpose of a business? It's a question that I've asked of more than 5,000 people in seminars worldwide, and virtually 98% of any audience will stumble on this fundamental truth in terms of actually defining business purpose. Because when you actually have it absolutely clear, then you're in a much better position in terms of advancing whatever arguments, ideas, suggestions you have within inside the company. Okay, so purpose of a business, the vast majority, the knee-jerk response. The knee-jerk response is the purpose of a business is to
make money.
That's the knee-jerk response, but it's not the fundamental response. It's not the response that's going to help you advance your career. See, making money, profit, revenue, people confuse purpose with result. People are confusing purpose with result. Making money is good. Making money, having profit is necessary. That's the lifeblood. No one's arguing against it. But they're answering the wrong question. They're confusing purpose with result, and the two are not the same. The question clearly being asked was, what is the purpose of a business? And this isn't my definition, Spencer. This was defined in 1960, one of the most famous marketing or business essays ever written. It was called Marketing Myopia. It was from Theodore Levitt, Harvard business professor, and he defined it clearly, because some people will think it's to make money, some people will think, well, it's to serve the customer and to give the customer what he or she wants or needs, which is not purpose. That's all action. Purpose of a business, timeless, universal. It is to create and keep a customer. That's it. When you break it down from a fundamental point of view, it is to create and keep a customer. You can be creating, so many businesses can be creating customers, but if they can't keep them, there is absolutely no way they can grow. So if you're an entrepreneur and you want to position yourself as a person of great value inside any company, always position yourself and anchor yourself to that fundamental principle of create and keep a customer. The railroads, at one time over 100 years ago, Spencer, they had all the market, they had all the customers, they had all the money. And what happened to the railroads? They were basically marginalized by the emergence of aviation. Why? Because the railroads thought they were in the rail business, not the transportation business. They forgot nothing would have stopped the railroads from buying new technology created by the Wright brothers, and that way, with the new technology, they just might have held on to the customers they already had. Guys, this will never change in the history of business. How am I going to create? And more importantly, how am I going to keep customers? First, big fundamental for any entrepreneur.
Wow, incredible. That's some great insight there.
You want to keep going?
I do, yeah, I love it. I have lots of questions here today. Question number two. So moving on a couple of years, I have my consulting business, and I'm in London, Ontario. My growth plan will not allow me to achieve my targets by just talking to the people in my city. So obviously I need to expand, right? But I can't be on the road all the time. I need to be able to provide value. So, Gair, I've seen your business. I mean, it's incredible the amount of growth that you've experienced. And I'm assuming that you've used technology to be able to expand your market to not only your backyard, but to around the globe. So, if you had maybe 2 or 3 tips for me on how I might be able to start out and use technology to, build a bigger audience, deliver more value, and ultimately hit my targets and be able to go where I need to go.
And this is, I'm so glad you're asking the question, Spencer, because it gives us an opportunity here today to actually help people ask the better question. Spencer's asking the question that everybody asks, which is about the technology and the bells and whistles and the shortcuts and how can I scale. No one's asking the better question, which is how do I actually create something worthy of scale? No amount of technology, no amount of bells and whistles, not all the king's horses and all the king's men are going to scale anything that isn't worthy of being scaled in the first place. So, what do I mean by that? From going way back over more than 100 years of marketing and just understanding communication, there's always going to be three elements present. Three elements: the hammer, the nail, and the block of wood. Now, this is something we picked up many years ago at a place called Wizard Academy outside of Austin, Texas. So we've already given you the first recommendation, which is Theodore Levitt and his great book, The Marketing Imagination, and his essay, Marketing Myopia. You can download it for free somewhere on the internet. Number two, this ties into something that they taught and have been teaching for years at this place called Wizard Academy, which is the hammer, the nail, the block of wood. Hammer is repetition and frequency. The block of wood, the human brain, the audience you want to supposedly attract, engage, interest.
Yeah.
The nail is what? The actual message or the story, the point you're trying to drive home. What far too many people do is they make the mistake of focusing so much on the platforms, the technology. In other words, how do I swing the hammer more frequently, and how do I use, whether it's manipulation like AdWords or, everyone's going to the magic keyword store now thinking that's going to solve all their problems, or they're going to boost this, or, guys, no amount of marketing smoke and mirror is going to compensate again for the lack of a sharp nail. When you have the sharpest nail in the fight, guess what? That's why Gary Vaynerchuk and Casey Neistat, for example, are winning on YouTube. Why? Their stories, their videos, their messages have such sharp nails attached to them. Unless you got a sharp nail to take to the fight, you're going to be pounding very hard and very often for a long period of time. So I hope this answers the question, maybe not the one you were thinking of asking, but the one that needed to be asked, which is, I'm more focused, and this is what I tell people all the time: focus on getting great at what you do and finding the sharp nail that's actually going to cut through the clutter, because it's been proven to work on real people in real life situations. You do that more often than not, then you've got something to scale. Don't put the cart before the horse.
Wow, that's great. And you know what? Leads right into my third question here for you here today, Gair. So I found my nail, right? I found what I believe in, what I feel that just delivers immense amount of value. Okay. But it's a little bit different from what I'm doing now.
It's a little bit different.
So I need to shift.
All right.
Right, within my business to focus on these values. So my brain right away, I go, I need to be an authority. I need to build content. I need to become in people's faces, to build this following in order to be able to kind of shift my business and be able to provide that value. Is that the right steps, or what kind of steps would you take if you're making that shift into something new, but something that you really are passionate about, but you don't have that authority or that content structure behind?
Then get it. Then start publishing. To me, publishing original thought, original idea, original ideas is the way to go. And we've got all the tools and the technology at our disposal, Spencer, but here's the thing. Study something that fascinates you. So let's role play right now. What is it that fascinates you, right?
Yeah, of course.
What is it?
What is it? Building a consumer experience.
Building a consumer experience. So right away, whether it's Spencer or anyone else who's asking me about how would I go about building a consumer experience and do it at a world-class level, where's the first road trip I'm going to? First place I'm going to. See, I'm going to study who's already done it. Who's best in the world at it, Spencer? Best in the world.
Best in the world? I'd probably have to give my hat off to Richard Branson in the Virgin Way.
Okay. I was thinking Disney.
Okay.
But I'll give you that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been on a Virgin flight?
I have, yes.
You have?
Yes.
So you saw something?
I saw something.
Great. How many other would you consider? Who's the top 5 of the greatest of consumer experiences?
If I had to list off 5, I mean...
Have you been to Disney?
I have been to Disney.
You've been? Okay, so so you have 2 out of the top
Yeah.
5. Who else is there in the top 5?
Consumer experiences? I'd probably say some of the cruise lines out there, the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, great experiences. I'd have to look at some of the maybe the corporate clubs or corporate programs out there, like oh man, you got me there, Gair.
Well, here's
you
the
got
thing.
Me there.
But here's the thing. Right away, I go to who's already done it best in the world. So I'll give Spencer big marks on Virgin and Disney, but then I'm going to places like American Girl, okay? I'm going to places like Zappos, who's created an amazing consumer experience in terms of online. So if I'm him, I'm booking road trips to Las Vegas. I'm going to a couple of American Girl stores. I'm going to places like Pike Place Fish Market in Seattle, Washington. I'm going to Fredericton, New Brunswick to study Canada's greatest small business success stories, or at least one of them, which is the story of Jim Gilbert, Canada's huggable car dealer. How did they take the magic of Disney and put it at a used car lot? These are, so what I'm saying is, I'm not only going to visit those places in person, I'm going to, if I'm Spencer or anyone who's fascinated by consumer experience, I'm also going to read about 20 or 30 different books from the leading authorities. I would be digesting Howard Schultz's books, the founder of Starbucks. But what I would also be doing is I would be taking copious notes and making all kinds of observations about not only the commonalities, but also the things that's hit Spencer in a very original way. And then you start applying these approaches and these philosophies to actual real life clients, test it, see how it works, and the more you publish consistently, whether it's blogs, particularly video blogs, and you do this stuff each and every week, well, guess what happens 100, 200, 500, 600 blogs later, Spencer? You are what?
Hey, I'm an authority. I'm
Absolutely, because you've actually done the work. So there are so many people today, and this is where I give this guy a lot of credit. There's so many people today that they think they can just leapfrog into thought leadership or expert category just because they happen to take a weekend course and got certified as an XYZ coach, which is, to me, so much crap. Because actually, all you got is a certificate on a wall that says you cut a check and you went and attended and they were going to give you that anyway. That proves nothing. So, in that spirit, I congratulate you, Spencer, for actually taking the time to sit back and say, hey, ask the question, what am I going to do to become an expert in that space?
That's great. Well, I think I have a couple really actionable items. I'm definitely going to keep in touch.
Has this been helpful today?
This has been incredible. This has been great. You know, I'm going to go right back home, and I know
Okay.
exactly what I'm going to do. The first three things, we're going to follow up, and hopefully we'll have a part 2 of the story when I'm a little bit further down the line.
Well, like I said earlier, we had no idea what was going to entail here at this little coffee date, but hopefully when it comes to picking someone's brain, and that's the other thing, by the way. Spencer's doing something that I know I did, especially early on in my career, and I still do it. It's a good idea if you're seeking to improve your game, seeking to reinvent any part of your business. Pick somebody else's brain who's actually done a few things that you admire, that you respect. Go out of your comfort zone, take them out, even for a cup of coffee, and who knows what happened, who knows what might entail. So thanks for the invite.
No problem.
So along with Spencer, we're just picking brains here at Starbucks and enjoying the Java. And hopefully some of these thoughts will help you recreate and reimaginate the business, the brand, the career that you deserve.